If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
United States history.
Are there any
Good.
Okay, I'd like to start with the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept? Second,
This is just the first step.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Resolution 1, EP1, resolution awarding professional service contract to the Brownfield Grant Application and Implementation Assistance. This is a program that we have done, been very, very successful in. There is a whole thing on our website as to how many brownfield projects we've done, and they went through a bid RFP. CNS has got it again, and the person doing it, CNS, the engineer, as I understand, is fantastic. He's worked with us in the past. He's done a great job. Motion to discuss? Second? Any comments or additions to this? Marie?
How many properties are involved in this?
Well, it depends on the total cost of the phase 1s and phase 2s that they do. We get about $500,000. So on average, phase 1s are somewhere between $8,000 and $15,000, depending on how in depth they are. Phase 2s could be substantially more, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
But do we have a current list of applicants?
Yep, absolutely. We helped.
Can I have a copy of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll put that right now. I have a summary document too, kind of talking about which communities there were some in Minetto, Schuylkill, Volney, Cleveland, Hannibal, Phoenix, Village of Pulaski, and then Cold City. Well, in our last round.
So there's about 10 applicants that will cost $236,250.
It's an estimate, but yes,
Is this core drilling, sampling?
it can be if necessary. So whatever is required for a phase 1, it can be whatever is required for a phase 2. There are some other environmental. There's no cleanup that's included in this grant. It's specifically a find the issues. The next round.
Right, but we've already done some phase 1s.
We have.
We had a $500,000 grant for phase.
This is actually the third one in about 25 years that will be, if we get this, that will be working.
I would just love the list.
Yeah, of course. We have that.
Is this the same thing that you sent me?
Yep.
Marie, this is fantastic.
Oh, I totally know what you said.
Yeah,
I'd just like to know
I'll send it all out
who's
to
in it.
the whole.
Yeah,
or I'll send it
yeah.
to Betsy or.
Yeah, I received it.
Here it
That
is,
was
right
asking
here.
for a question. Yeah.
I can send it out. One other great thing about this is that as we've done this in the past, the RFP that we put out did not allow us to use the same consultants for all the work that they had done to do the cleanup piece. This will allow us to allow them to write the application for the cleanup grants as well, knowing that they're going to be experts in all the phase 1 and phase 2 work that they've done.
Fewer hands in the pot makes it a lot
Yes.
quicker.
And if I could, one other question I did hear a couple times was some concern that because we're going with the lowest costs, that it could potentially be raised or increased at a later date. The good news on these testing grants is that these phase 1 and phase 2 are mandated by the EPA. You can only charge a certain amount of money for this grant, for the grant program. So we don't anticipate there'll be any change.
And it must be a brownfield, which is defined.
Well, no, actually, if I could, it's actually not. This is one of the good ones about this program. So in the past, we've had these, they're called BOA, or Brownfield Opportunity Areas. They're required to be done in a BOA. There's only a handful of those in our county currently. What this does is allow you to use it anywhere that there could be environmental concerns. So this has been able to be used in some of those communities I mentioned earlier that had no gas station with a tank underground.
Okay. And that's a big deal to remediate tanks.
It can be. We've had a couple, I know Legislator Regional has one working on currently in Cleveland, but some areas that haven't historically been able to get grant funds to understand just how bad it is, this program's been able to help us look into.
So are you actually cleaning up for owners of a property with a gas station or just identifying?
So this grant program just identifies. There are additional programs that could help them get rid of it and clean it up. We've seen that in the past throughout the county, but this one specifically is just right up there.
Yeah, it's a great program. I just wondered who was involved. Right.
Then I do see Nestle site. I thought we did one there.
So the Nestle site,
Certain parts of that
We did some phase one work out there, which is that kind of initial 50,000-foot view. The more detailed of what's actually there is typically done in our phase two review. Those can be very expensive based on the size of the area. Plus, this program is not super quick because we go through county, state, and federal reviews. It could take a while. The city of Fulton decided to go forward with a phase two on that site. Their own that was paid through, I believe, another grant program that they had. It moved, my understanding, it moved substantially quicker. We did do a couple phase twos, but I will tell you this process is not super quick. So if there's a developer who's kind of on the hook or ready to come through, this may not be the best program.
Any other?
I just want to add, it's been a very good program. A lot of times dealing with developers, they're not willing to pull a trigger unless there's a phase one done, and a lot of times the owner doesn't have the wherewithal to do it, and sometimes it comes back and says there's something there, and you got to deal with it, and a lot of times it comes back and says not enough there to be an issue. And so even if there isn't problems found, that's a critical piece to being able to redevelop a property, and a lot of times it's just the chicken or an egg of I'm not interested in buying your property unless you're going to do this. And they're like, well, I don't have the money to do it. And so this kind of helps to move things along that wouldn't otherwise. And as we've seen, there's dozens of brownfields or potential brownfield properties in Oswego County. And this is a way to get those properties to move.
Any other comments? Hearing none. Yes. I'm sorry.
I'm just pointing out that.
Well, the site in Cleveland is actually owned by the county right now. So it's not, it's good that if we can get this back on the tax roll, it's going to be nice. That's been through the auction 4 times in 20 years. So we held on to it this year because now it is designated as brownfield. And so I actually met with Miguel Jordan, who was involved. They were super to work with there. They were on site. They did testing at the report on this. Because at some point they're going to be able to give us help with how to remediate it, and whether or not we sell it first or the village of Cleveland itself can possibly do the remediation or take it as part or something. It's a nice property.
Information. That's important.
And I do want to mention that we did apply for this second round using our grant writers this year. We're not awarded. Now, it is a very competitive grant program. It's a federal grant program. But having the experts write it, they're the ones who wrote the application that were awarded last year as well. And in that previous round, just so everybody knows, in your communities, we still have about $50,000 left of that program that we could use right away. So if there's any other areas that you know about that we could work on, let us know. Pretty quick process and no charge to the owner.
The key word in there, as you were saying, is could be. Right. Not that it's already determined, but could be. So it gives us the information as to how to move forward.
Yeah, and if you do have one in your community, you can reach out to Karen Noyes, my office. She oversees the stuff. Great job with it, or me directly.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Well, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to accept? Oh, we've already done it to discuss. Yes. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. EP2, resolution authorizing budgetary modification to increase statewide transportation STOA funds for the Office of Mobility Management. This is in the tune of $500,000. It'll be added to our transportation. And with the STOA funds, the more people we have riding, the more funds we get. And we've been doing a great job of increasing our ridership, which means we're getting more STOA funds. Motion to discuss? Second?
Second.
Questions? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. EP3, resolution setting time and place for a public hearing regarding the County of Oswego's intent to apply for a community development block grant regarding CDBG micro enterprise assistance. As I understand, this is $300,000.
Make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you guys for keeping me on track today. Okay, this is going to small business and micro enterprises. It is $300,000. We're hoping to facilitate 8 different businesses, and they must contribute 10% the business, and I believe it goes from $5,000 to $35,000. Does anybody have anything else to add? Great.
Are the businesses selected already, or is this an open application that is going on right now?
I can talk to that. So we need to get the grant first, and then there will be a formal application process. So we've already done sort of an initial survey to determine that there's need for it. They make you show as part of your process that there's businesses that would be interested in applying for it, but ultimately we won't know for probably at least 6 months if we get it, and then at that point we'll do a formal application process. We've never had this program before, so I'm sure we are going to be way oversubscribed for amount of business interest to the amount of funding we have. But it's something that we want to get involved in because this is a big sort of, to me, a blind spot that we have. We don't have a micro enterprise business grant program, which is where a lot of the interest and things that come through our office are requesting. So to answer that, the businesses, we know right now there's at least a dozen businesses that would be interested, but that process will become, when we get the funding, hopefully when we get the funding, we'll then do that formal process and open it up.
How is it made known to the businesses that this opportunity exists?
So I want to be clear, the opportunity does not exist yet until we actually get the grant. But once we are approved for the grant, there will be because we're going to be doing this through the county. So the county has to be the applicant. We would be the sub-applicant and administrator of the program. So together with the county, we would market this to the countywide to businesses that are eligible for this program. So through our traditional marketing channels, as well as other businesses that we work with and we already know that have come to us in the past, and have expressed an interest in it, and we just didn't have that program.
The state or federal funding?
The dollars come through the state, but they originate at the federal level. So CDBG originates from U.S. Housing and Urban Development. It's a HUD program that there's block grant dollars go through every year down to each of the states, and then the states have a process that they then get that funding to municipalities or counties.
I believe these businesses, they have to have a small business training.
They do, yeah. There's a training component of it that, to be eligible, they have to go through microenterprise training. So another thing we're doing is setting up a local microenterprise training program in collaboration with the Small Business Development Center.
Is the maximum amount set by state, or is it a local?
It is. They set it as $35,000. What we would do is we would create a local sort of committee that would sort of review these, and then we would be creating our own, requirements criteria for projects. It could be related to job creation, could be related to the type of industry it is, could be obviously related to what the need is, but we can set that. They just say the minimum grant number has to be 5,000, the maximum could be 35, but we have some leeway to then create our own criteria within that.
Frank?
This being federal money passed down through, what are the feelings on cutting of that?
This isn't one of those that I have I mean, obviously anything could happen, but this is one of those that I feel is not on the chopping block. It's not related to sort of green energy. It's not related to some of the things that have been, I guess, against sort of the platform. So, I mean, it's small business assistance. It's helping, businesses in distressed areas. I'm not too worried on that one. Like I said, anything could happen, but
But you're not worried about it right now, so.
No, I'm not worried about it right now. And the other thing is that these are dollars that it's not like we put the dollars out first and then get reimbursed. So it's not like we'd be out the dollars if something were to happen.
Tim?
Two other kind of points on this. If the county does not have the authority to do a program like this, which is why we're partnering with Operations County. We're not allowed to gift or benefit any individual business as a county, but the program allows us to be able to work with that. Second one is that this is going to be a Oswego county-wide. That's very important because both City of Oswego and City of Fulton run programs like this already, but very specific to those communities. This would be an opportunity for us to assist.
Yeah, as Tim said, City of Oswego has done this. I believe they've done this in the past, and I know City of Fulton just recently did this. They had a round of these dollars that went through the CDA and have helped small businesses. And they could be either a small business already in business, they just have to have less than 5 employees, or it could be somebody who's starting a brand new business. There's actually a With your scope of work that you develop, you sort of put together a portfolio of how many businesses you want to help that are brand new startups and how many you want to help that are existing businesses. So feel pretty confident about this, that we have a need for it and that we'll score pretty well, but obviously it's still an application we need to apply, and it's so we'll see how that goes.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. EP3, resolution approving the execution of an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Constantia wastewater, Socrest. Motion to discuss, second. And, Bart, want to give us an update on that?
Yes, we're in the process of applying for an IMA grant, intermunicipal agreement grant, with our partners down at Constantia. This IMA is to cover the Socrest line down the trail, and we're going to pick up a few residents in the town of Constantia. We have to have a few users. Not that we're going to keep them, but part of this is, Constantia's already signed it and they're happy with it. I do have to give a shout out to Rich Mitchell, who worked very hard on this and got it put together and before this committee. This is up to $30 million, and the due date on this is September 11th, the legislative meeting, and that's why I commend Rich. He expedited it and got it taken care of, because the deadline for the grant is September 12th, the next day. So we have everything else ready to go. All we need is the IMA agreement to qualify for this application.
Sure. And then the ledge to approve.
Yes.
Any questions?
This does not commit us to the only projected.
Correct. Correct. You know, Rich.
A lot of conversation.
Okay, no other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Passed. EP4, resolution setting the time and place for a public hearing regarding the County of Oswego's intent to apply for a community development block grant regarding CDBG. Wait a minute. You weren't done.
No, this is the second one.
Okay.
This is the round.
Oh, this is for the bounding. Yes. Okay, and motion to discuss?
Move it.
Second. Okay. This one, we've discussed the boundary thing going from the landfill right to Fulton municipal wastewater. And because right now what's happening is that stuff is actually going to the streets of Fulton. This will make it much safer, much more direct route. And it is just another of the steps that we have to go to get it. Does anyone have any questions or concerns regarding this? Hearing none, those in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Yeah, that thing. Okay, EP5, resolution authorizing the application for an acceptance and expenditure of Catalyst Program funds from the Northern Border Regional Commission regarding the Socrest project and designating an authorized individual to take care of this. This is basically a waiver that we don't have to have a local development agency do this. We can do this in-house, and we have to assign someone, which is the chairman of the legislature, to be able to sign paperwork. Motion to discuss. Second. Any questions?
And again, this is also due on September 12th, and we're all ready for it. Except for this resolution.
Except for the resolution. Okay. Hearing no other questions, those in favor? Opposed? Passed. EP6, resolution setting the time and place for a public hearing regarding the County of Oswego's intent to apply for a community development block grant. The boundaries.
I think that's transportation. No?
Yeah,
The number is screwed up.
yeah, the number's screwed up. I'm like, okay.
We did
So we just did EP6.
yeah. And then you were at 5, so now we're at 7.
All right, the numbers are all messed up. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, so I'm like, okay. All right, so, we are now on EP7. Yes,
I think mine
okay,
understood.
thank you, because mine is,
Yeah.
just want to make sure. Okay, resolution fixing time and place for public hearing relative to proposed county of Oswego local law number 3 of the year 2025, entitled, a local law declaring Oswego County as an eligible area under New York State Environmental Conservation Law and authorizing the participation in a deer hunting pilot program. Then I kind of, there under. Okay. Motion to discuss? Second. This is something we do every single year. It's to agree with DEC is already doing this. It's for 12 and 13-year-olds to be able to be with adults out in the hunting season to learn how to properly use their guns in hunting. And ours extends up to 12/31 this year, and so we're just putting it in for it to extend. Any questions or comments? Hearing my, okay, Fred.
I voted against this last time multiple. Like 12 years ago. In the woods, hunting, deer, rifle, oil. So, and then everybody go, oh, yeah, well, we could cross.
It's so that they can learn how to use it properly, but we all have our opinion, right? Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes. Okay, let's go right into reports. Operation Oswego County updates.
Sure, got several today. So I know I've been talking about it at the last few meetings and wanted to let you know it's actually official now. So the Oswego County Industrial Park expansion received $8.1 million funding through the FAST New York grant program, which is through Empire State Development. This is the last funding needed to finance the project, which includes construction of 4,000 feet of new county road, water, sewer, electric, gas, a new electric substation, and an enhanced entrance to support the development of a 185-acre expansion site to serve up to 1.1 million square feet of new industrial space to help attract hundreds of new jobs and hundreds of millions in private investment. Park is being marketed for advanced manufacturing and semiconductor supply chain businesses, and outside of just the funding, I will say, so this funding was approved about 2.5 weeks ago. I've already had 4 different calls with Fast New York people, which are the same people who are attracting these big projects to New York State and trying to assemble them around Micron. So it's not just the funding that we have now. We also have full state support to make sure that this project's going to be successful. They don't want to put $8.1 million into that site and see it sit there. So exciting things happening. We are going to be planning a groundbreaking ceremony for middle October. We're going to be at 90% final design by the end of this month. We'll be going to bid probably late October, November, and the majority of work will be starting in spring of 26 and ending in spring, summer of 27. So and some of that could be expedited based on businesses coming in. Right now our plan is 4,000 feet of road, which takes you about 70% into the site. If we were to land a project, say hypothetically somebody needed 600,000 or 800,000 square feet, we could shorten the road. I should have brought you a visual aid. I'll bring it for the next time. But it's kind of think of it like a road going in like a cul-de-sac, and if for some reason somebody at the end, the anchor user, is larger than we have on paper, then you just shorten that cul-de-sac and just, so you have the maximum flexibility to be able to allow a large user at the end. So very excited about this. This has sort of been in play for years, and we finally have gotten the last piece of funding for it, and the project will be moving forward shortly. So that's the big one I wanted to do. We already talked about the Micro Enterprise Grant. Next month also, October 15th, mark your calendars, we are doing the Bringing Back the Manufacturing Summit. It's going to be at the Cuba Community College Event Center. We have a flyer that'll be going out here at the end of this week related to the speakers and topics. But just one thing I do want to let you know, we've secured Joe Nemi from Micron is going to be our keynote speaker to talk about the progress that Micron is at in their project, but then unique to it is how local manufacturers can do business with Micron. I think that was an important part that we wanted to bring to this. And we've been hearing about this project for years now, going on 3 years in October. And how do local businesses, how can they actually be able to do business with Micron? I know that there's been a lot related to how contractors and people can do that work related to what Gildane's done, but this will be something unique to us. So that's going on. Also wanted to give an update on the nuclear advocacy effort. So two things here. Zero emission credits, which were put in by New York State back in I think it was in 2019 and goes through 2029. The state is opening that, and they're considering renewing that for an additional 20 years. And the public comment period for that was opened on August 20th and will run through October 20th. So we're going to be, us along with Upstate Energy Jobs and Carbon Free New York, are going to be asking for support letters and public comment for that to see that credit be extended, which is critical to the long-term economic operation of our 3 nuclear plants, as well as the one at Ginna in Wayne County. Also, we are working on a PR campaign regarding new nuclear for Oswego County. There's going to be efforts coming in the very near future related to videos for showing that Oswego County is the most ready location in New York State for new nuclear, from a community support, infrastructure, labor, site, operator, all of that. So I think we're trying to get out in front of that and be proactive and not even marketing, but just positioning ourselves as the location for new nuclear in New York State. Other things, busy month at the IDA this past month. 2 projects received full approvals. One of them is the Fulton Chocolate Works housing project at the Nestle site. It's 50-unit housing project there. Another project was the Selkirk Lighthouse and Marina in town of Richland, the development of a boutique hotel on that site, as well as other amenities. 2 projects that received initial resolutions and will be coming to the IDA later this month on September 30th for approving resolutions is Travery Manufacturing. That is a engineered wood truss manufacturing business coming to the city of Oswego. It's a brand new business being started, as well as 7 West Bridge Street LLC, which is the renovation and redevelopment of a downtown building. It's actually the building where Children's Museum is, keeping them there as a long-term tenant and making that renovating the apartments as well as other commercial space associated with that. So, and then lastly, a very small micro business received financing at the IDA's meeting, which is Crowfoot's Car Care in the town of Granby. Received was approved for a $16,000 micro enterprise loan, but that would have been a ideal candidate if we had a micro enterprise grant program. So kind of brings it back to some of the businesses that are we'd be looking to fund through something like that. So, and that's the project that's going to retain 1 job and create 2. So. Yeah, that's what I have for today's report.
Questions?
Do I recall a few months ago you talked about possibly doing some rebranding of the
Yes.
organization?
Yeah.
Where are you in that?
We're in the process right now, so we
It's
actually...
not like you're not busy enough.
I know, it's, trying to do a strategic plan and rebrand at the same time, probably not ideal. So we actually just had a meeting last week where I believe Rachel was in that as well, where we were talking about, we were considering, it's a short list of names, so it hasn't been official yet, but we are, at this point, we're leaning towards the name change for the organization, Operation Oswego County. The problem with Operation Oswego County, you're talking to people outside the area, they don't know what that means. They're like, is that military? Is it healthcare related? What is it? And so also it gets confused with OCO all the time, even within the county, like all the time. So right now we're looking for a name that just tells what we are right away off the bat. And so right now we're leaning towards Oswego County Economic Development Corporation, Oswego County EDC. And then with that will be sort of a logo, branding, promotional effort around that. We have a meeting, I think it's September 18th, Rachel, that we're having a workshop within and Ed will be there as well, related to some of these efforts, and our strategic plan will be rolled out here before the end of this year. And as part of that will be that name change, branding, those things as well.
Great.
Yeah, I didn't.
Question? Greg?
Yes.
The big write-up in the paper, you just mentioned it about pilot agreement. You and I talked
Yes.
in the meeting. And you said we're gonna get 40% of that $35,000.
City of Fulton, yep.
City of Fulton's
Yep.
portion of that could go down. You know, like you said, if the school district
Yeah.
gets more, you know, that could happen.
It's like our normal pilots where it's designed where it's on a year-to-year basis, it's split up on a pro rata share.
And as always, you know, you and I have talked, and I've expressed my concern about the length of pilot agreement. And in this case, it's only a 15-year pilot agreement, okay?
Yep.
Which is a lot less than 20. A lot.
Or
But my
25.
biggest concern is that, and the other ones, we're looking at a number of positions, a number of jobs that are being created.
Yep.
And what it's going to cost the area. Okay, and you're talking about 2 jobs, and the City of Fulton's going to get $14,000 out of that, which doesn't even cover the cost of 1 employee in the City of Fulton. And we have no say in this pilot. City of Fulton has no say in it. How can we remedy the fact that any town, village, or city has a say in the type of pilot agreement, accepting it or saying that they're not in favor of it and it should be renegotiated? What can be changed to do that?
Well, I mean, I would say related to this process, it was very sort of public process. Because it was a deviation of our uniform tax exempt policy, even if it wasn't, but it was a deviation. So notice was given to all taxing authorities of what the proposed model was. There was a public hearing that was held right in the middle of the day, 12:30 at City Hall, where anyone could come in and provide any issues they had with it. Nobody who was there had any issues. I mean, it was, I think, 10 different people got up and 10 different people were in support of it. So it was also no negative comment was provided by any of the taxing authorities related to either the length of the pilot, the terms of the pilot, any of it. So, I mean, if somebody has an issue with it, they could bring it to us, but nobody brought it to us to show that.
At the meeting last night, they said they had no say in it, as I asked. Okay.
I think it's a misunderstanding of it.
The difference is, what I'm looking at is that if we went with full taxing, the City of Fulton would receive $140,000 a year in tax, which would help greatly with the payroll and everything else, which over the course of this term of this pilot agreement would wind up receiving somewhere around $2,100,000. Now, we're talking numbers, but we're talking about neighborhoods also. And when I asked the meeting last night what say we had in it, okay, the whole county council and the mayor, and they said they had no say in it. And I just don't think that that's, you're saying that they did, they could have, but, and I saw in the paper who spoke in favor of it, and funny to me that the people that spoke have got a dog in the fight, so that's why they would be in favor of it. But I just think that it's sad because, we want to put something in somebody's neighborhood that's going to not increase the value of the property, but also increase jobs, increase a lot of things. But this is not going to. Okay, yes, it's going to increase the assessed value of the city because of the amount of money that's being put in there. And it's going to increase the assessed value of the property because of the taxes that they're not going to have to pay, but it's going to have to be distributed around throughout the city and throughout the county, okay? But the resale value of a home across the street or next door to an apartment complex, the resale value is going to go down. The assessed value will go up, but the resale value, people are not going to want to live next to a 3-story apartment building. I mean, and the people that were, that were not there were the people that live right across the street from it because it's in the middle of the day. we've discussed that many times about time limit. I'm just looking for a better avenue for the cities, towns, and villages to have a say in whether or not, and you're saying that they do, but that's why I specifically asked it last night. You guys have a say in this, okay? And they said, no, they don't. So I'm sorry,
Didn't the board approve it?
which board?
Who to go before for zoning?
Yeah,
It went, so the project was approved for site plan by the planning board. The sale of the property was approved directly by the city of Fulton Common Council. It couldn't have been sold without that, but, and I think that, everyone sort of knew that they would be coming for it. The one thing I would say, Frank, is related to the pilot is to be done without a pilot, and you're saying if it would be $140,000, who ultimately is paying that? The tenants are paying, and then it's not affordable housing at that point. I mean, I guess that's part of the challenge is that, to be affordable housing, it has to be affordable.
you know my feelings on affordable housing. okay?
Understood. I get it.
And, people in Pulaski, will know what, that increased up there as far as their
The other thing,
calls.
yeah. The other thing to understand though with these types of projects is that the city potentially could have done their own pilot agreement for the project, and they have done it for other projects. I think Overstreet, some other ones were ones directly done through the city. So they have the opportunity, not for every project, but specifically for low-income housing projects, they can do that. This is actually a better deal for the city doing it this way than it would be to do it that way.
Now, your point about did it go in front, yes, it did, okay? I was at that public hearing, and I know there was only 2 people that spoke out of 10 people that, did come to that meeting, okay? That spoke in favor of it. Both of them we had dog in the fight. One of them was the owner of the company that, put it up, and the other one was, the person he used to work for out of Syracuse, okay? And it wasn't in favor. People were not in favor of it. Now it's one of those on 4th Street. And then it got moved down to 7th Street. And people still were not in favor of it. But yet, the planning board, okay, which was loaded with people that were in favor of affordable housing, city of Fulton, all voted in favor of it. But that's all I'm saying,
The representatives.
well, they're not voted, they're not elected, they're appointed. So don't say that they're representative. Please, no, they're not. Okay, thank you very much. That's all. I said, I don't want to take any more of your time. You guys got a guy, but go ahead.
Can I just say, it's a fair question to ask about the terms of pilots. I mean, those are all things, and as an IDA board meeting, I vote on the pilots. So one of the things that we specifically look at is, would the project happen without? Or thing to remember with low-income housing in New York State is that typically you don't worry about pilot because it's owned by a nonprofit and it's not taxable. So when a program like this happens where it's done by a corporation that is for profit, there is the ability for a pilot because otherwise it would be taxable. What we've seen, and this is why it's important, what we've seen is that projects that are owned by the nonprofits, they don't need the pilot because they get all the money directly from the state. But then you don't have a say as a community because it's owned by a nonprofit. It's run for nonprofit reasons. There's no taxable benefit at all. We've seen that out in other communities in this area. So I just want to make note that if it is run by a corporation that is for profit, there is some tax benefits to that. If it's not, it's tax-free completely, and so you're not getting $200,000 because that project never would have gone forward at Fulton Penn Station. It would have gone forward as a nonprofit and run it. Community still would have approved it, and the city wouldn't have it.
Austin?
I just wanted to add, just related to the Nestle site overall, we're working with a developer right now that is very interested in a master plan redevelopment of the Nestle site, and this is a project that actually, it's not this. It's not housing. It's it's sort of a commercial redevelopment. I think, Frank, when I get a chance to talk to you about it, you'd be very supportive of the type of project.
And I am, and everybody in the city of Fulton is in favor of industrial development or business development, but not the affordable housing. And there isn't a person in this room, and that includes Marie and I, that is in favor of downstate Democrats telling us you got to have affordable housing in your, in any of your DRI projects or anything else. There isn't any of us that are in favor of that. So please don't throw affordable housing and we won't get money because we don't want it. That's the case as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So yes, we want that. It should have been a business park. That's what it should have been there. Okay, I'm sorry, but, you know, it just upsets me because it's within 2 blocks of my house, okay? And I know the people that live down there, they're in my district, they're in my ward, okay? They're not happy with the affordable housing going in there. And when they see what's gonna happen with their tax bills and what they're getting paid back, none of you in here would be happy with it being right next door to you, within 2 houses, 2 blocks. That I know you would, okay? So that's my point, that's why I'm arguing.
One quick point, it'll be quick. I hired a gal, she's a nice hard worker. She came from the Bronx. HUD has cut everybody off down there. They're redirecting them to us. She was redirected. She said, try Oswego. It's really easy. I hired her. I'm glad I hired her, but I'll tell you what. She's definitely rough around the edges, but a hard worker. But she said that's a mass exit out of New York. They're sending them, just so you know.
I hope they like the winners.
Austin, I think you're doing an excellent job, okay, in pushing for development of Oswego County. You know that.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, well, I guess in summation of the municipalities, and they did not know it, sounds like it was one of those things where you say, shoulda, woulda, coulda, and they didn't.
Fought it all the way.
I'm just saying they could have gotten involved in it, should have, they did. Okay, moving right on. Any other questions for Austin?
Well, so what's the procedure to contact folks that could be interested in being at the public hearing on the pilot?
So we have to send it out to all the taxing authorities, and we also post at our office as well as here at the county building notice about public hearings. We try to think, what else do we do related to that?
The representative, because I got one
Yes.
yesterday.
Yep.
So,
Yep, we always do it for the person who is the actual, not just, by law, you're supposed to send it to the highest elected of that community, but we also send it to the local legislator of that area as well. So it's not required to do it, but we do it.
I already explained, Austin. The letter was dated August 12th. I left for Montana, 5 o'clock in the morning, August 16th, that's when it showed up.
We were waiting for you to leave and send it over. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
An individual, while I was on vacation in Montana, asking me about the meeting. And I said I did not know about it. I called Tim, I called you, okay? So, there's, yes, Roy, there is notification, okay? But again, 12:30 time is not good. Most people that are working.
well, I mean, you should be able to send a representative from the taxing, from the city.
Oh, they had people there, I'm sure they did.
Okay, so does the notification include information about what they want to be able to
Yep.
share? That you can share your opinion.
Yep.
Your municipality's opinion of that pilot.
Yeah, we encourage the municipalities to provide it, and there's been examples in the past. So like solar projects in the town of Richland is a great example. They, our policy in the past was to do 20-year, and they said we think it should be shorter. And so in that example, we made it 15 years based on what they requested. So there's been examples where we've taken, if it doesn't happen often, but when the communities have said, hey, we propose something different, taking that into consideration, and the IDA board can vote based on that information.
And the point is that it can happen if the municipality has an opinion that they
Yep.
won't express.
I will back to, and I don't want to belabor this, but back to Frank's. They don't vote on it, but they can provide input. The voting takes place by the IDA board based on what the benefits are at the end of the day, but they are absolutely entitled to provide input, and it has definitely influenced that process in the past.
I think that's evident in the fact that there's been pilots with shorter terms. And in my opinion, pilots are bittersweet. I think there was a time when they were more relevant as far as competing for investment dollars. But it's a catch-22. I think as our economic health increases, I'm personally hoping that there'll be less and less need for that competitive edge standard. But it has certainly helped in managing some projects. And I think as long as the IDA is aware of that and sort of common EDC and this board, you know, we keep that in foremost in our minds, because ultimately we want businesses to thrive and we want them to pay their own way, fair way.
I understand that our pilots and elective them are much smaller than that of Onondaga IDA, but they gave Micron 49-year pilot. Yeah, 49 years.
50.
Yeah, I know. Okay, moving right along, Workforce Development Department updates.
Yes, I'm gonna pass around, I've got our job fair flyer, which was designed by our new employment specialist that I heard that has a marketing communication background, so hopefully some more prettier, cohesive marketing coming out. The job fair, starting annual fall job fair, it is September 23rd from 1 to 4 p.m. at Fulton Ice Rink. We sent emails out to businesses about 2 weeks ago, once we booked the date time, and within 2 days already had 15 businesses signed up. So definitely had a good turnout of employers, and we're starting to get this flyer out there as well. The reason again for the radio station logo at the bottom is we partnered with Interharmony for the last couple of years. As long as we put their logos on our flyer, they will advertise for free for us. So that will be coming up at the end of this month. A heads up on resolutions that I will have for next month. I've been in conversations with MACNY. They are looking to bring their advanced to apprenticeship program to Oswego County, which mirrors their Real Life Rosies program for pre-apprenticeship and manufacturing, working with the Advanced Manufacturing Institute. The advanced to apprenticeship is open to everybody, but with a focus on individuals with disabilities that are able to work. So our disability resource coordinator will be working with MACNY, recruiting and getting this program up and running. So what I will be submitting to this board will be an extension of a contract from that with the Real Life Rosies that we did last fall. We get some administrative grant dollars from them to help with support services for the individuals that are going through the programs. And what they're looking with this is to do advanced to apprenticeship this fall, and the spring do another Real Life Rosies program. So same program, just focusing on women, and trying to continue this because they've gotten a lot of grant funding. And they're rolling the program out really across the state, but had success in Oswego County. And then also extending through the end of this year to start agreement with Center State CEO, still continue to work on getting more CDL training. And now Page Trucking out of Weedsport has started their own school doing their first training cohort this month. So we've been helping them as well, which they have a contract with the wellness, so they employ a lot of certified residents as well. Other updates, our Oswego Build program is running our first cohort. We have 9 very active participants in the program. They have already in the first 3 weeks been introduced to 5 different unions between the instructors that have come in and presenters. There will be more that are going to be operating engineers, I believe, next week to visit their site. We will be starting to recruit for our second cohort in the next month or two. That will be starting in the spring. For that cohort, we will be adding some nuclear energy introduction to what that field is like for those that are interested, because there are so many tradespeople that are stationed out at the nuclear power plants. So we have Constellation still continuing as a partner with Build as well. And currently working with the grant writers on 2 different grants to try to get funding for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th cohorts of this going. We have gotten $15,000 from Constellation to support programming, so we're putting that funding is towards the toolkits that each of the individuals are receiving. They use them throughout the programs. They actually got them last week. We went through Brady's hardware, so cut from local as well. And we're getting all the building supplies from Brady's to be able to build an 8x10 shed at Camp Hollis, and that is their project that they'll be doing beginning the middle of October with the help from some partners and other representatives. So it's going really well, and we're excited to keep it going. We did wrap up the City Manufacturing Automation Lab summer program this past end of August. So there ended up being 25 students enrolled, 16 completed, so those 16 individuals did receive a manufacturing certification, whether it was in Fanuc robotics and intro to manufacturing and hand tools. 14 out of those 16 did earn their National Career Readiness Credential through WorkKeys. And the whole program culminated with a job fair that there were 9 local manufacturers present at, and there are a number of students that not only interviewed at the job fair, but are having second interviews right now to be employed. So as a pilot program for the new automation lab at City that I know there was funding, our funding that went towards that. It was pretty successful. People were getting certifications, their NCRC, and equipment out of it. So we'll see how we wrap that up for next summer or what we do moving forward with that. So that's about all I have for now. Summer program.
I was just curious, why the drop out?
I don't know. I just got these numbers actually this morning. I've got to follow up with Sydney on that. I emailed them the other day. I'm getting some numbers, but it was curious.
So we can figure out how to target that different ones.
Yeah, and it was only a 40 program, so I don't think that. But
I'm just curious.
why? Yeah. Oh, I was too when I saw that. That's 19.
Interesting. Well, what's the age group?
Well, we had targeted recent high school grads. It got less than 10. So, but there was interest from adults that were asking City about it. So it
Good.
ended up being opened up.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to say is that our workforce development, we take care of people from 16 to 64. Yes, all age groups. Plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that we do take care of anybody within that age group if they're looking for training, volunteer, or work.
Yeah. Our summer program actually goes down to 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know because you may have an influx of people looking for that.
So there's some national momentum pushing technical training job versus college for some students. Are you seeing, is that impacting the interest of people that you're seeing? Are they talking about that at all?
There's a lot of talk around that when it comes to high school students and different CTE programs that are being embedded right in the high schools. And actually, they're working on an energy curriculum. So the energy curriculum that we're taking in our build program for adults is being worked on with the Center of Energy Workforce Development, the national organization, but working with Constellation, National Grid, and other companies of that size to be able to embed this program as a CTE to high schools because of where it leads, whether it leads to trade unions, but it's with wind, solar, electric, nuclear, all the different aspects of energy, so that's just another path that's going. But I think there's definitely more drive more trades.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
Get $100,000 for that.
Bree's always been an advocate for the trades.
Well, yeah, try to get something done right. It's a 10,000-hour apprenticeship. And I mean, it's fairly rigorous testing on some of it. I mean, if you can be a certified welder, a real welder right now, go anywhere in the world. And there's just a lack of the component with the mechanical skill added with that. My husband's so frustrated over the bridge, he said they should have put the connection in and kept First Street open, then did the under part. And he said, why did they work nights or weekends? That should have been in the contract. Unbelievable.
Okay, any other questions for Rachel? Okay, let's move right on to promotion and tourism.
With the promoting on Facebook and Instagram, the most popular post we had was Roxanne Floating Circus and Oswego County Beaches and the Sumfast Dirt Series in Oswego. Also, Balloons Under the Moon and the upcoming Salmon Run in we went to the Balloons Under the Moon in Granbury. It was a extremely well-attended inaugural event, as well as volunteered at the NYSTA booth up near State Fairgrounds. Each day we're handing out the guides and we had a booth. The Tourism Regional Detail Thousand Islands visitor spending continues to increase from $228 million in 2003 $235 million in 2004 with a tax savings of $559 per household. In September, we'll be going to Lake George to discuss America 250 celebrations as well as tabling an event, the World Canal Conference in Buffalo, talking about Oswego or, visiting Oswego. And also the Salmon Fish Hatchery open house on September 27th. And we'll be attending the Super Dirt Week that's going on in Oswego next month. Looking in October, Assembly Will Barkley's 6th Annual Local Landscape and Landmark Art Market takes place. The dates of the show are October 17th to November 9th. That's it.
A lot of stuff to bring people to Oswego County.
Yep.
Besides,
What is the landscape thing?
It's Will Barkley's local landscape landmark. It's artists in the 128th district are encouraged to submit pieces. Deadlines for submission are October 9th. Art can be dropped at Leo Barkley's office located at 19 Canal View in Polk.
Where can all this be viewed?
It's in partnership with the Art Association, so it'll be both.
Yeah.
When will it be available for viewing?
October 17th and November 9th. There'll be exhibit on October 17th from 6 to 7 p.m.
No, it'll be there from October 17th through November 9th, so it'll be on display for both.
And anybody can walk through, view this?
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a flyer or not,
Yeah. I would never know about it.
Yes, sir.
One question. Are there any insights why Oswego County is the lowest percentage regional growth for visitor spend, taxes across the board? Do we have any insight into why we're the low end of that?
They might get into that.
Just curious if we have any areas we can kind of address on that. I mean, for employment, it looks like we're actually in the middle for increased employment, but for actual regional growth, we seem to be at the bottom of the three counties.
I think
Source?
I think part of it too is that only part of our county is located in this region, so it doesn't take into account, I'll double check this, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't take into account the entirety of our county's numbers, only this portion in the north that is part of their region. So I don't think they actually get the data from the cities and the southern portion, but I'll double check that.
Yeah, it seemed like they're weak and some of the other events, those numbers would be much
Especially
higher.
compared to some of the other
Yeah.
counties up there, I think we have quite a bit more. So I believe that's it, but I'll double check it.
if you look at the city of Muskegon sales tax coverage versus, I mean, even Saratoga Springs, for example, we're higher than Saratoga Springs in sales tax collection. So the numbers are pretty impressive, and it's driven by, things like Dirt Week and.
Austin?
I was just saying, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't know how that's looked at, but I would say we're already in a very high area, so sometimes, or a pretty high number, so when you look at it from a percentage growth perspective, it may not look as high, but and some of those other areas are coming from an area where they don't have as much, so their percentage growth might be higher compared to where they are at. So I'd have to look at this, I guess, more to understand it. I'm kind of talking uneducated to what this is saying, but, I would say, based on even what you said, I mean, I think that we hold our own in terms of what we collect for sales tax, occupancy tax. I think one of the other areas maybe is, and this is something we're working on, is more hotels. I think that more hotels allow you to take a day trip to a weekend trip or to an overnight trip. And so I think that's an area that we see as a potential for growth to help grow some of that visitor spending.
Anybody have any other questions for Dan?
Well, we're a little further.
All righty, moving right on to planning and community development.
All right, I'll give just a couple really quick updates on the tourism piece. Probably all saw, but this weekend we had our first salmon landed in both the Salmon River and as well as the city of Oswego, Oswego River. So that's exciting. That's kind of the unofficial start of fishing season. That's when people are looking for that. Our office does an incredible job in tourism of getting that information out there. So it'll be very hard for you not to see large fish pictures on Facebook coming from the next couple of weeks. So that's exciting, but it also means that there's the challenge of where we put all these people. So we're working to make sure, partnering specifically with the city of Oswego, I've touched on it a few times on it, to make sure that we have a good plan of where do we put people, where do we direct them to, and how do they make sure that they really enjoy their trips to Oswego. So we're working on that as well. And kind of in light of that, Oswego County Tourism Office is working kind of through our Tourism Advisory Council to create a new Fish Advisory Council, kind of an ad hoc committee as part of the Tourism Advisory Committee, but it'll help bring together the folks who speak knowledgeably about that to make sure that as we invest more of our funds into those areas, we're really doing things that have a return investment and getting the experts to make sure that they recommend those things. So we're working on that as well. If you're interested in that, let us know. Keep you there. Jumping to the planning side of it, we are moving right along with our comprehensive plan update. We have heard from the consultant that we hired, EDR, that the amount of outreach that our office and our community has done has blown away the other two communities that they've done, which are Onondaga County and Portland. So we really are doing a great job in our office getting out there. Many of you have probably seen staff in my planning office in your communities, stopping at any of the areas where farmers markets or your council halls and things like that. So really trying any of the housing complexes, really trying to make sure we get that really good response on our survey. So that's moving forward.
How long is our survey for?
I don't have the exact date. I'll find out. It's open right now. We extended it a little bit longer because we really wanted to get as much input.
Yes.
But I'll get the exact date. I don't have that extra on my head. In partnership with the other towns and villages that are actively working on it, I think I mentioned meetings past, we have 12 towns and villages that are actually updating, right, some process of updating our comprehensive. So my staff in the planning office has been really helping out. We offer provide free maps. Obviously, maps are an important piece of your comprehensive plan. Our planning staff does a really good job of that. We offer those free of charge. We're also working on helping with other land use, things like that. Through our 239 process, we also are working with helping out with zoning updates. We have a number of communities. There's 2 communities that have never had zoning that are actively working to get zoning right now. And so that's obviously a big lift for those. They're seeing the potential influx of people coming from outside of our county, and they want to be prepared. The legislature authorized somewhere around $60,000 to assist town villages with their planning work. And so we are very soon going to be kind of opening the application process. We don't actually have a formal application process that these are all funds. But so for communities that are actively updating and want $3,000 or $4,000 towards that, we're going to have a process that we put in place to provide that. We've already heard a number of community areas.
Now, ARPA funds, when do they have to be totally used up? So
End of 26.
that's okay. So we've still got another year. Okay.
Okay, so that's updates there. couple other things that we are working on, and I'll give the mobility management update as well right now. Obviously Heather could not be here today, but you have your packet in front of you. A couple really exciting things here I want to highlight. First one is, as you see, that we want your input. Finally, and I know people who have been in the committee have been asking, finally we are about to go live with our new app. This is it's going to feel, if you've used Uber and Lyft, it's going to feel just like that. You're going to know real time where your bus is, you're going to see it on a map. There's going to be a very constant communication structure to make sure that you know when your bus is coming to get your vehicle's coming to get you, you're prepared. And again, this was funded through federal DOT dollars. It's finally going live. So super exciting thing here. I think it's going to help me better utilization of these, which again helps because we get paid based on how many people ride. If someone doesn't, calls to set it up and for some reason can't figure out how to use the app or whatever, then we don't get paid. So this is something that again I think helps our community, but it's also going to help our bottom line. But they're just finalizing the look at it. So if you want to get a chance and download it, check it out. If you have any thoughts or concerns, let us know. We're calling it the Ride a Sweet Go app. I know, right? Clever. So that's it. Any questions on the app?
I had that idea.
Yes.
That was Noel. We should put that on there.
Yes.
Dash Noel. So that's the app. Any questions on the app?
Yeah.
Yes. You'll also see in your packet the Park and Ride Shuttle. We again offered free of charge rides to the fair. You can see the ridership. See the two cities were the highest, but that's a lot of rides. Serving our communities. And I know that there were. We did a survey of the people who used it this year. We did a kind of with 0 to 5, and like 95% responded that it was perfect 5 score. They were so happy and so thankful for it. So across the board, that was very well received. Again, thank you for helping with that. I know a couple folks have reached out specifically about that. Farmers Market Rides, you'll see that as well. Again, a great program we offer. As a reminder, this is something that we partner with DSS so that the SNAP benefits can be utilized to buy food from our farmers. I think it's really just a really great coupling of those services. So it's also encouraging folks to eat healthy and have. So good program. We're very happy with that. You can see it was very well attended. Or still ongoing. Sorry, it's been very well attended so far. And then I've kind of got one interesting update for you on the rural transit side of it. So you probably know and remember that we offer kind of 2 services in transportation. We offer fixed route and on-demand. Fixed route is when a bus goes to a stop, you go to the stop and you get picked up there. You know where you're going. You know when the bus is going to get there. That's fixed route. That's the OPT bus. We also offer a program called Access, which is on-demand. Access, which is on-demand. You have something you need to get to. It's not necessarily on the bus route. That's where you use your app to get picked up and go there. For over 40 years, Oswego County has utilized the same vendor for our public transit, rural transit. That's the one that you go on the route. We are putting out that bid. It's actually out to RFP right now through September 23rd. In the past, we have never had more than 1 respondent. Anybody who's familiar with the bid process, 1 respondent, we are encouraged that Heather's done a great job. We've met with a number of other vendors prior to the window opening, and we expect there'll be at least 2, potentially 3 or 4 vendors that are responding. So we're excited. I'll keep you in the loop on that. It's, again, hopefully exciting opportunity for us to help and help us.
It'll be awesome to have some other than just one, where you're locked right in at their mercy. Okay, Mark, I know you're not on here, but I would like you to give us an update on what's going on.
I will. Thank you. Since I'm towards the end and Austin got most of my time.
We'll put you first next time.
First of all, I'd like to thank the committee for moving those 3 resolutions to full board. It's very important. We are still in the process of searching, identifying, and inventorying all other county sewer and water assets to create a detailed plan for the future expansion of these infrastructure, or what I like to say, refer to as a roadmap for the county's future development and environmental safety. I've touted the fact that we've had a lot of cooperation with the local governments. We're working great together. You can only apply for 1 Northern Motors grant per program or department. So the town of Valmy said that they will apply for the Northern Borders grant for our Valmy project. So we're getting a lot of cooperation throughout the whole county. I do want to thank Luke in the planning office. He's been diligently going through and mapping all the water districts. He's been on a tear, so we're getting closer to having more documents in a plan.
Thanks. Anybody have any questions? For anyone? Any other business? Soil and water, he called me and actually, he's only supposed to be here like 3 times a year, so he said, you're okay, Joe. So, any other questions or any other new business? Okay. Can I have a motion? Second? Have a very good week. We'll see you all next week.